Let's take a look at three scenes from animated films. What do these three seemingly different film segments have in common?
They put him in a little sack.
No.
Yes,
How did you escape?
I didn't. They chopped me into firewood.
While they are all animated, the commonality I wanted to highlight was the use of music. Each scene uses music as a complement to the actions in the scene. There's a term for this technique. It is known as Mickey Mousing. According to the Oxford English Dictionary, Mickey Mousing is formally defined as the matching of the musical soundtrack of a film, etc., to the details of the accompanying action in a manner reminiscent of animated cartoons. In even simpler terms, the music and action are in sync with each other. This technique was first introduced by Walt Disney Studios in the animated short Steamboat Willie in 1928. This was one of the earliest cartoons featuring Mickey Mouse, hence the nickname of the approach Mickey Mousing. Walt Disney was a strong proponent of using sound to tell stories, so despite the hefty cost for audio equipment in the 1920s and 30s, he and his team knew it was a necessary venture. Walt wanted to show the entertainment world how well he could coordinate the sound with his animations. He also understood that scoring a segment to the action would heighten the emotional impact of the scene or action. If there was a funny moment in the story, the sound effects could make it even funnier. If there was a thrilling moment, it could add to the tension and make it more gripping. It could match and amplify the visual mood that the characters were experiencing in the moment, which is especially powerful in cartoons that have no dialogue to tell us how the characters feel. Here's a clip from Tom and Jerry that highlights that idea. We know Jerry is angry and Tom is scared from their facial expressions, but the music and sounds clue us in that Tom is growing increasingly anxious and frightened when he realizes Jerry is basically indestructible. Similarly, take this old cartoon clip. Here it is without sound. Now here it is with the music they used. A lot funnier, right? The choreographed punches that match the rhythm and bells solicit more of a reaction from the audience. Mickey Mousing was also meant to ground the over-the-top cartoonish action with familiar sounds that could help convince the audience of a movement. In Fantastic Four, there is not an actual sound from Mr. Fantastic stretching his body, but incorporating the stretching of a rubber band can make the action much more understandable or relatable for the audience. Alongside Steamboat Willie, another well-known Disney cartoon that is fully comprised of Mickey Mousing music is Skeleton Dance. If you haven't seen it, it's exactly how it sounds. While you get the idea from the clip, I highly recommend watching it in its entirety to fully understand the impact of the music. Steamboat Willie and the other Walt Disney shorts were pioneers in the animation industry, setting a new standard for not only cartoons aiming to include synchronized sound, but on the influence of sound in all film genres. While this method is known for its effectiveness in cartoons and animation, it can also be heard in many live-action films from the past few decades. Here's a scene from the first James Bond film, Dr. No, from 1962. The music directly lines up with Bond hitting the tarantula with his shoe. This amplifies the intensity of the scene from Bond's point of view, while also making it a little humorous for the audience. Another classic example of this effect in live-action film is from the original Spider-Man with Tobey Maguire in 2002, when Peter learns he can climb walls. The music plays every time his hand touches the wall and sticks, highlighting the shock and importance of the discovery. Despite its early success, Mickey Mousing is controversial, a nickname even considered by some to be derogatory. Composers have argued it draws too much attention to itself, relating too much to slapstick humor and therefore not allowing the story or main score to shine. Its simplicity, which was seen as an asset to early animators, now seems almost like a cop-out or shortcut for a film score. In many films today, the score is produced to capture the emotions and mood of the scene or characters' motives, despite what the characters are actually doing on screen. Other composers, like Max Steiner, who composed Oscar-winning scores for King Kong, Casablanca, Gone with the Wind, and more, praises his method of scoring. In an interview about his score from Gone with the Wind, Steiner is asked about if he is familiar with the term Mickey Mousing, as he has accented action with music in his films. Steiner replies, "Sure, I have. I always laugh. Mickey Mousing. It is so darn silly. You think soldiers marching, what are you gonna do? The music going one way and the image another? It would drive you nuts. It needs a march. It has to be with marching feet. So if you call it Mickey Mousing, it's fine with me." As Steiner points out, despite its limitations, Mickey Mousing works well for its intended purpose. We all have been exposed to this sound method, whether we knew of this term or not, and can almost unconsciously associate certain sounds with action. For example, listen to this music and try to imagine what actions are accompanying it. If you said someone running, then you'd be spot on. Brownie points to those of you who recognize the heavy steps of Fred and Barney. While Mickey Mousing is being used less frequently in films today, it is still prevalent in many other creative mediums, including film trailers, theater productions, and video games. For example, if you ever danced along to the Goombas in Super Mario Bros. Singing, or grew increasingly annoyed, then you have emotionally connected to the use of Mickey Mousing sound in video games. All in all, Mickey Mousing has changed the way sound is used in entertainment forever. Whether it is to heighten emotional impact, exaggerate animated movements, or add comedic effect, this technique has provided so much depth in storytelling with parallel scoring. So next time you laugh at a slide whistle sound for when a character slips on a banana peel, give a quick thank you to Walt Disney. Just like Walt said, it was all started by a mouse.
Gotta go. But thanks. On with the show.